these notes cover rate and unit rate. We're going to start at the top. So in the fill in the blank, it says a rate is a comparison of two quantities that have different units. And it's also a ratio, which is what you've been doing the past 2 days. So it's comparing two things. The only difference between a rate and a ratio is that with a rate, your labels are different. So in the first example where it says Max ate 321 Takis in 5 minutes, that can be expressed as a rate, and it works because it's two different labels. You have the label of Takis, and then you have the label of minutes. So Takis is 321. And in this case, we're using the fraction bar to write it, because with the ratio, you can write it in 3 different ways. You can write a rate in 3 different ways. And the minutes is 5. So that would be the rate at which Max can eat Takis. On the bottom, we have Brooke is at a grocery store comparing 2 brands of tea. You have Pure Leaf, which is $1.98 for 25 fluid ounces, and then you have Snapple, which is $1 for 16 fluid ounces. To compare the cost, Brooke must compare prices for equal amounts of juice. So what that means is we know just by looking at the prices that the Pure Leaf is more expensive by 98 cents, but it's also more ounces. It's 25 ounces, whereas Snapple is only 16 ounces. So you have to take that into consideration because, yeah, it's more expensive, but you're also getting more of the juice or the tea. So to fill out the table, I've already started it. You've got 25 ounces right here and then $1.98 right here. The easiest way to break it down to get 25 to 1 is to keep dividing it by 5. So 25 divided by 5 is 5. I've already filled that out. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So basically, the X column is completely filled out. We just need to worry about the Y column, the input and output. So if we take $1.98 and divide it by 5, that's going to give us some sort of a decimal. Let me use a calculator. Okay, so $1.98. Oops. 98 divided by 5. Remember, we're talking about money. So when it says $0.396, we need to round that to the nearest cent. And as you know, money only goes 2 digits after the decimal. So that right there is going to round to 40 cents. So 0.40. Next, we got to take 0.40 and divide it by 5 again. So I should have left it on my calculator. 0.4 divided by 5. 0.08. So what that means is that Pure Leaf costs you 8 cents per ounce. I'm going to put the little symbol for cents. It's not $8, it's 8 cents per ounce. Next, we've got Snapple. So we have 16 ounces of Snapple. The easiest way to break that down into 1 ounce is to keep dividing by 2. I've already got the X column filled out, so let's worry about the prices. It's only $1 for 16 ounces, so first we need to take $1 and divide it by 2, which I can do that in my head. Half of $1 is 50 cents. So let's do 0.50. I can do this in my head too. Half of 50 cents is 25 cents. So 0.25. And now I'm going to show you guys with the calculator. We take 0.25 and divide it by 2. Basically, we just keep cutting things in half. 0.25 divided by 2. Remember, we're talking about money, so this can't be expressed as 125 cents. That's not a thing. So if you round it to the nearest cent, it's just 13 cents. So 0.13. We're not done with our table yet. I need to scroll down a bit. We need to divide 0.13 by 2 one more time. 0.13 divided by 2 equals 0.65 or 0.065. So rounded to the nearest cent, that would actually become 7 cents. So 0.07, which means Snapple costs you 7 cents per ounce. So when it says which is the better buy, now you have the data to figure that out. Technically, Snapple's the better buy by 1 cent per ounce. It's really sloppy, but it says Snapple by 1 cent per ounce. Copy that down. I'm going to erase it and go to the bottom. The bottom completely goes over unit rate. So unit rate is a rate in which the second quantity is 1 unit, It's still a rate in the fact that the labels have to be different, except for it's over 1. If you ever go to the grocery store with your parents, you might realize that underneath all of the labels under the items, it says the unit price, and that's literally a unit rate. So the first example says Abby pays $90 for 6 yoga classes. What is the cost per class? And this is basically a shortcut over what we just did with the example with the T. As you probably would have guessed, making the tables is a lot of work, and there's a much, much faster way to do that, and that's what I'm about to show you. So first you have to use the information in the problem to write the rate. So $90 for 6 yoga classes, your rate is this, $90 over 6 classes. Step 2 is to divide them. So take 90, divide it by 6. This is super easy. Take 90, divide it by 6, and boom, instead of making the huge table to find out how much 1 ounce of tea costs in that first example, all you had to do was divide the whole time. But 90 divided by 6 is 15, so it's going to be $15 for 1 class. Done with that example. The cost of 2 cartons of milk is $5.50. What is the unit price? It's supposed to say what? Here's your rate. The money always goes on the top. So if you're having a hard time reading a sentence and writing a rate, the money 99% of the time is going to go on the top, and that's the number that goes inside the doghouse when you divide them. So $5.50 over 2 cartons, $5.50 divided by 2. Oops. 5.5 divided by 2. And again, this is giving us the cost of 1 carton of milk because the unit rate is always over the number 1. So $2.75. $2.75 for 1 carton. Having a hard time. 1 carton of milk. So that means the unit price is, this isn't going to fit, but again, $2.75. I tried. It's supposed to be a 5, but it won't let me write. There we go. Let's recap. So we're going to write an example for each. A lot of times if you're driving down the road, if you pay attention to road signs, you'll always see the speed limit, and the speed limit is technically a unit rate because it's telling you that you can go 60 miles per 1 hour or 75 miles per hour. That's technically a unit rate. You probably just didn't know that. So I'm going to use that example. Pretend like you're driving somewhere. So an example of a rate would be if you went 80 miles. Remember, a rate, they have different labels, but it's not over 1. So if you went 80 miles in 2 hours, that would be an example of a rate. Different labels, you have miles, you have hours, and there's no 1 involved. Now, if we were to take that rate and turn it into unit rate, we would have to divide 80 by 2, which just means that they went 40 miles per 1 hour. Pretty easy stuff. All right, get all that copied down, glue them into your handy dandy notebook, and then move on.